This video is sponsored by Phoenix Pharos cards. If you need supplies of singles or splits for Cardfight Vanguard, especially the ones in the video, do check out Phoenix Pharos cards today, and as a bonus, use the promo code MetaNerd to get an amazing 5% discount. And with that being said, let's get on with the video. Greetings YouTube, welcome back to the MetaNerd channel. I'm Marcus, bringing you another video for Cardfight Vanguard Overdress. Willdress. In this video, we will be going through one of the new Ridelines that was introduced alongside Sorairon, which is the Cater Sanctuary Pope. We actually have Narukami, well, sort of Narukami return in Dragon Empire. As what I'm referencing towards Narukami, this deck does focus around binding stuff, but not really binding the opponent. You actually bind your own stuff to gain skill, which honestly is not really that detrimental. I mean, not really that great if you compare it to binding your opponent. If we are able to bind the opponent's stuff right now in the meta, I think it's going to be hurting like quite a few decks out there. But regardless, it is a interesting revisit of the bind mechanic, and yeah, I'm really excited to see what this deck actually does. Without further ado, let's take a look at what Gandiva actually does. First off, we have Sacred Flame Bow Soldier, Agiredo. Continuous Vanguard Circle. If your opponent has one or less rearguards, when you would ride Scarlet Flame Bow General this panel from Ride deck, you can ride without discarding a card from your hand. Although when this unit is rolled upon, if your opponent has 2 or more rearguards, you may call this card to Rearguard Circle. So the first skill basically forces your opponent to basically call stuff out if, of course, they want to, you know, prevent you from not discarding to ride. But then again, they will need to call down 2 rearguards, which in a sense is actually good for you, because the whole Rideline, this whole deck revolves around retiring the opponent. So with them calling stuff to the rearguard is actually a good thing. But then again, most of the time in a competitive standpoint, people will just let you, you know, free ride, if that makes sense. Of course, riding without discarding is always nice, because sometimes, you know, you have this very weird situation where you are forced to discard something really good in order to ride. If you don't, then of course you can't really ride now, can you? So it's very, very nice for skills that basically allows you to ride from the Ride deck for free. Absolutely amazing. And as mentioned before, you actually gain value from the opponent's aggression if, of course, the opponent decides to be very aggressive. Keep in mind, this whole deck is a control deck. The more rearguards they call, the more power you are gonna get, and of course the more advantage that you take away from the opponent, which is always really disgusting. So it does not really matter if the opponent wants to call or not, you are guaranteed to get benefit anyway. If they don't call anything, you get the free ride. If they call 2 or more, you basically could call this great one to the Rearguard Circle, which is an 8k body. It does not really do anything, but hey, it's a free +1. What's not to like? For the grade 2, we have Scarlet Flame Bow General this panel. Although when this unit is rolled upon by a unit with Gandiva in its card name, choose one of your Vanguard, and the cost of that unit's original ability is reduced by Counterblast 1 until the end of turn. So this basically does not really do anything until you ride into Gandiva. And of course, reducing 1 Counterblast on Gandiva means that it's basically a free skill activation. At that point, it's just really good. This basically allows Gandiva to, you know, have board control for free, as well as setting up Gandiva's +1 critical skill for free, which is always nice. And this is really good efficiency for the deck too, you know, because Gandiva needs 5 cards in the bind zone in order to get the critical. Although for every card you bind, you do get power. So this card giving that free 1 Counterblast to Gandiva is very nice. And I think this card is most exclusively going to be a Ride deck card. He literally does nothing on the rearguard, so nothing much to say here. And for the boss man himself, Scarlet Flame Marshal Dragon Gandiva. Auto Vanguard Circle. When your opponent's rearguard is retired during your turn, choose a card from your drop and you may bind it face down. Second skill, Continuous Vanguard Circle. During your turn, all of your front row gets 2k power for each face down card in your bind zone. If your bind zone have 5 or more face down card, this unit gets critical +1. Third skill, active Vanguard Circle once per turn. Cost Counterblast 1 and choose 5 of your opponent's rearguard with different grades. Reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Retire all of the chosen units with the same grade as any of the revealed cards. Shuffle your deck, and if you retire 1 or less units, draw a card. Choose a card from your drop and bind it face down. Like I said, this is basically like a very Narukami boss unit within standard. It has the binding skill of Narukami, but instead of binding the opponent, you actually bind your own. own, which, you know, it's a very interesting take. It's both a buff and a nerf at the same time, because of course the nerf part is that you can't really bind your opponent's stuff, because there are certain cards that your opponent could recycle as well as superior card from the drop zone, and if you manage to bind those cards, it's actually very detrimental for the opponent. The buff part here is you definitely have more control on what goes into the bind zone, because if going up against opponent that does not really have anything in the drop zone, the whole binding mechanic doesn't really work. So with the focus change from the opponents to your side, it actually gives you more control as well as more pilot friendly, I would say, in terms of, you know, activating skills. So you will need to at least retire 5 rear guards. Any skills that retire is of course okay and will therefore activate the first skill of Gandiva. You will need to have at least 5 face down bind cards in your bind zone, which is, I think, should be quite easy even without retiring stuff, because there are some skills that could basically bind themselves face down within this right deck. You will still want to bind your own stuff like very aggressively, because once again, for every card you bind, it's a 2k to the front row, which is super disgusting. And not to mention, if you bind 5 or more, Gandiva actually gets a crit, which is very, very nice. For the bar control skill, you could actually whiff with this because it's pretty much a very RNG type of skill. So if you don't manage to retire anything, you are able to still draw a card as well as bind one card from your own drop zone, which means that you are guaranteed to bind 1, and of course you will need to find other ways to bind the other 4, which I think should be quite easy. But if the opponent does not really call anything, then that's pretty much an issue right there. But yeah, very, very nice card actually. And of course the power bonus for this card actually applies to newly called units, since it is a continuous, meaning there is a card that allows you to multi-attack, and the cards that you call from that unit skill is still gonna get the 2k for every face down bind zone card. Very, very nice skill, and it's basically voltage at this point. So let's take a look at 2 other cards that was introduced with this ride deck. First off is Dragritter Alfakar. Very dangerous choice of name there. Auto Rearguard Circle. When your Vanguard with Gandiva in its card name attacks of grade 3 or greater Vanguard, cost Counterblast 1 and bind this unit face down. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 grade 3 or less unit from among them, call it to Rearguard Circle, and shuffle your deck. I mean, this card literally just makes the whole Gandiva a 4 attack deck. Very, very nice. And of course, the newly called unit will be able to get the power bonus from Gandiva, which is absolutely amazing. The more cards you have in the bind zone, of course, the more power this unit is, just the whole front row is gonna get. So, you know, very disgusting. And of course, this unit does contribute to the 5 face down bind zone requirement, because after he attacks you Counterblast 1, he binds himself face down, so which means you will give your front row an extra 2k on that on activation of this skill, which is okay, but at certain points it might just, you know, give like a very magic number to your front row, which will basically force a 5k more shield from your opponent. This is a very solid card inside this deck, because not only does it gives you a 4 attack, it also helps with the binding of your drop zones to therefore power up your front row, as well as, you know, Gandiva getting the crit. I mean, I'm basically repeating myself, but then again, the whole deck really functions kind of towards that way. But yeah, a very, very nice support. And of course, it is actually possible to attack 5 times now that I look at it, because if you have 2 of this unit, very careful with the name there, you are able to attack for 5 times, because it does not roll assist once per turn, and very, very nice. Disgusting card. For the other card that was introduced alongside this is Scarlet Flame Bow General Stirguna. Although when this unit is placed on Rearguard Circle, if you have a Vanguard with Gandiva in its card name, cost Soul Blast 1 and bind another Rearguard face down. Choose one of your opponent's Rearguard and retire it. If you did not retire, draw 1, choose a card from your drop and bind it face down. So yeah, I mean, this card, even though it's only a common, it actually do a lot for Gandiva. This card is basically a consistency card. You basically could make the whole deck like very, very efficient. He basically Soul Blast 1, you bind a Rearguard, which will contribute to the 5 cards in the bind zone, as well as providing the front row 2k power. You are able to snipe one of the opponent's Rearguard, which will therefore activate Gandiva's first skill to bind 1 from the drop zone, which then, you know, contributes to the critical +1 for Gandiva, as well as 2k to the front row. I'm repeating myself at this point, and I'm not sorry. If you did not retire with this skill, you are still able to draw 1 as well as bind from the drop zone. So either way, you are able to bind 2 cards from your own drop zone from this one skill. Common is the new triple R. This is very, very good. And one thing to keep in mind here is that since you are binding your cards face down, some of the cards that activate from the bind zone does not activate, because since they are face down. So by law, or should I say by the rulings, you are not able to activate any skill from the bind zone. Unless it is bind face up, then you are able to do so. And that is all for this video. Do let me know down in the comment section of what do you think about Gandiva. Personally, I am very excited that Dragon Empire actually received a dragon boss. I'm not looking at you, Overlord. I'm definitely not looking at you. Do like and subscribe if you like this video. And of course, do ring the bell notification icon so that you don't miss a video I upload. With that being said, I'll see you all on the field.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, go.